Chapter 71. You are listening at novelfull.audio. At the Stark Expo opening, the crowd was massive, a sea of faces illuminated by countless flashlights pointed skyward. Stark's appearance in his Iron Man suit sent the crowd into a frenzy, the flashlights shaking wildly. That opening dance was alright. Lost in the cheers and noise, Ye Li avoided the VIP seats and the crush below, watching the Iron Man girl dance troupe's high-kicking routine for a while. As for Tony's speech, he wasn't listening. He'd switched on the news channel, Iron Man. Meh. The news was more interesting. After the opening ceremony, a video of Tony's dad, Howard Stark, began playing on the big screen, showcasing his voice and smile. The video also featured a model city. Ye Li knew that new elements were hidden within that model, but he wasn't going to bother with it. Tony would find it eventually, none of his business. Hey, Li, how you doin'? Tony strolled over, slipping something that looked suspiciously like a pregnancy test into his pocket. Actually, it was a device for detecting palladium levels in his blood. I feel ripped off, Ye Li said, his expression flat. It's boring. Tony's eyes widened. You don't think my grand entrance was exciting? Seriously, you just wanted me to watch you drink yourself to death, right? Ye Li stood up and clapped his hands. Let's get out of here. Tony extended a hand, tilting his chin slightly. Wanna head this way? Ye Li glanced in the direction Tony indicated, a secured exit. Bang! Tony! As the security door opened, a wave of people surged forward. There were Stark fanatics, women looking to snag a rich husband, and CEOs seeking business deals. Soon, a blonde caught Ye Li's eye. Are you Mr. Ye Li? She approached him. I didn't realize you were friends with Mr. Stark. Any plans for the next few days? I'd love to go out with you. No time, sorry. I'm super busy. Ye Li rejected her, but she still managed to slip her business card into his pocket, kiss him on the cheek, and wink. Call me if you change your mind. Is that Mr. Ye Li? Mr. Yi. A few more started to close in. Ye Li navigated the crowd with practiced ease. On the street, he could usually blend in unnoticed, but the more famous he got, the more people recognized him, and here, there were plenty. Tony, starting tonight. After escaping through the secure exit, Ye Li brushed off his wrinkled clothes, pulled a handful of business cards from his stuffed pockets, and tossed the rest in the trash. Now I know how messed up you are. He deliberately dragged him here. What a snake! Stark spread his hands innocently. I thought you'd be into it. Those were the ones you kept, weren't they? Yeah, right. Ye Li dramatically fanned himself with a business card. Isabella, Parsons. Emily, Art Trading Company Executive. Olivia, Hand Paint Pen Studio. Okay, enough, Tony said, holding up his hands in surrender. I know you kept those cards for business. How about I give you that sports car to make up for ruining your night? He gestured toward a brand new car his bodyguard Happy had waiting. Never even driven it. Ye Li glanced at the car. Not bad. Really? Finally, something you like, Tony. Guess Happy picked a good one. Nah. Ye Li motioned for Tony to lean in. I mean her, isn't that an old flame of yours? Huh? Tony turned to see a dark-eyed woman in a purple dress standing in front of the sports car. She looked like she might have Irish roots. Oh, don't know her, but she is gorgeous. Tony didn't give the woman much thought, leading Ye Li toward the car. So, you want the car? Don't need it, Tony. Ye Li whistled, vroom. With a heart-pounding roar, Winnica launched her motorcycle off a nearby platform, tires screeching as they hit the ground. Bang, star. Was there anyone in that car? Did it lose control? Pedestrians dove out of the way, startled by the sudden arrival, but as Winnica pulled up in front of Ye Li, the onlookers relaxed. If Tony Stark was around, a driverless motorcycle was hardly a big deal. Whoa! The woman standing in front of Tony's car looked impressed. Awesome. Thanks for the compliment, Winnica said happily. Ye Li said politely, not saying anything more to the dark-eyed beauty, and said goodbye to Tony. Tony, remember not to lie to me next time. All right, all right. Tony climbed into the driver's seat of the sports car. Mr. Ye Li, have a good night. I'm outta here. Mr. Stark. The dark-eyed beauty chuckled, stopping him. I don't think so. Oh, Tony assumed she was just another admirer and asked, who are you? Looking for a date? Law enforcement officer, Kate Mara. The dark-eyed beauty handed over a document. You're scheduled to attend the Senate Armed Services Committee at 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. This is your subpoena. She was still smiling. Tony's face fell. Let me see your badge. Happy, sitting in the passenger seat, chimed in, he likes looking at badges. Kate Mara readily obliged, showing Tony her credentials. Still enjoying the view, Mr. Stark, but at this time, Tony didn't push his luck and scowled. Kate Mara ignored Tony and gracefully approached Ye Li, who was watching the show. Hello there. Are you Mr. Ye Li? Huh, Ye Li raised his eyebrows. Looking to serve me a subpoena, too, ? 'Cause if I remember correctly, I haven't committed anything, especially one that calls for a court-martial. Mr. Yi. Kate Mara swayed closer, lightly sitting in Ye Li's lap, hugging him. You stole something. Ye Li tilted his head, unimpressed. Your heart. Heh, just hear me out. Katemala lowered her face, blowing into his ear, and whispered. Some time ago, the Osborn group fell apart. Someone is secretly acquiring part of Osborn's research laboratory through the properties owned by the Ghost Spider Club. It is said that a serum very similar to the Super Soldier Serum, or rather, it's the Super Soldier Serum. Kate Mara pressed herself against Ye Li and said in a suggestive tone, you don't want S.H.I.E.L.D. to know about this either, right? So, Ye Li pinched her unceremoniously and said calmly, are you threatening me? Kate Mara blushed, biting her lower lip, and said seductively, I just want to cooperate with you. Who? To read exciting novels, go to Faloo Novel Network. General Ross. Boom, star. Ye Li pushed her off and turned Winnika's handlebar. Let him sweat it out. Wait, there's one more thing, sir. Kate Mara wasn't one of Ross's direct subordinates. Seeing that Ye Li was considering it, she didn't continue talking. She turned to Ye Li and asked with hot breath. Do you have an appointment tonight? Hold on tight. Ye Li calmly held her in front of him and straightened her up, and then deliberately shouted to Tony. Tony, don't be angry, I'll help you teach her a lesson. After saying that, he didn't wait for Tony to respond, then he encircled Kate Mara and rode away in tandem. Huh? Tony was confused to see the law enforcement officer chatting with Ye Li. Hearing what Ye Li said, after he reacted, he immediately shouted back, Hey! Li! Your friendship's going down the drain. Tony paused, the only thing he could see now was Winnika's taillights. Happy, how far are we from Washington? Washington? Happy calculated and said, 250 miles. Washington.D.C., Peanut Ton Special Zone. Korea, Tide Fresh. Iran. Is that Justin Hammer? At the military court, Tony used his technology to expose the military and Justin Hammer. Iron Man is useful and we are safe. Tony Stark slapped the table. You want my product? Don't even think about it. He stood up from the witness stand, turned to face all the cameras, opened his hands and said yeah. The successful I provides Edward peace. I can maintain world peace alone. The successful I provides Edward peace. Ye Li imitated Tony Stark on live TV. Tony's really full of himself. Gwen offered a peeled fruit on her fingertips. Did you have fun at the exhibition with Mr. Stark yesterday? Super boring. Ye Li swallowed the fruit and tasted the delicate jade green onions. He thought it would be cool to fly down with that iron lump, but his head was exploded by fireworks. Leaving no face for Tony at all. Well. Felicia buried her nose in Ye Li's neck, sniffing lightly, her snow-white cat ears suddenly twitching. Master! Do I smell another woman? Jessica was playing with Felicia's tail when she heard this and asked curiously, who is it? Cindy or Skye? Not Cindy, not Skye either. Felicia's tail swayed, her nose pressed against Ye Li's and she smelled carefully. It's an unfamiliar smell. Huh. Jessica narrowed her eyes and grabbed Ye Li's handlebar. Spill. Who is it? Tell me the truth. Ah, this. Ye Li thought for a second, then shifted the blame to Tony. It was Iron Man's female fans. They were a little too enthusiastic. Really? Then why did you keep us waiting so long yesterday? Jessica thought like a detective and said suspiciously, Brother, are you having an affair? Cough. Ye Li almost choked. Jessica, don't you think that word is a little inappropriate coming from you? Why is it inappropriate? You bully me every day. Jessica caught Ye Li's slip up and wouldn't let it go. She said softly, do you want to use it up and not admit it? Don't think that just because I'm a younger sister, I can do something so cheap. What's up with her? Ye Li turned to Gwen on the other side. Has Jessica been watching soap operas again? She was always being nagged at by my father, she hasn't been a vigilante for a while. Gwen thought of something, and it was a little funny. She gently lifted her long, slender legs on Ye Li, over him, and playfully stepped on the tender flesh of Jessica's thighs with her little jade-like feet. Jessica can't take any time off. She ran to open a private detective agency again, commissioned to help the employer find out several affairs. Gwen. Stop poking me. Jessica's pretty face turned red when her bottom was uncovered. She grabbed Gwen Haobai's ankle in embarrassment and moved it away. It's sticky. No wonder I can stand on the wall. Private detective agency. Ye Li also felt that his sister was really energetic, but in the evening, why is it just average? It's about the same as Gwen and the others. Is it because the home base is not developed? Jessica, where's your detective agency? Ye Li asked casually. Jessica scratched the soles of Gwen's feet with her little hands and said proudly, it's just outside the Clinton area. Cough. Ye Li choked again. Clinton District, Hell's Kitchen. You're something else, alright? Don't underestimate me. Jessica, the detective agency is just covering up. In fact, I am trying to find out some information. Ye Li, what are you doing asking for information? Hell's Kitchen is in chaos now that Kingpin has thrown himself in jail. The demon gang led by Mr. Negatives. Hammerhead, Magjia gang. The headstone that Gwen hadn't found before. Jessica counted on her fingers. There's another one that popped up recently, Hand Club, to use the word you said, brother, all kinds of monsters appeared. Ye Li, hold up, you mean the Hand? Yes, what's the matter? Jessica, it should also be some kind of gang organization, right? I caught a ninja from their organization and asked him. Xiaori, neon locals who are doing well. Ye Li's eyes flickered, forget about other people, these guys from the Hand dare to dance under his nose. Gwen broke free of her feet from Jessica's hands and said, Li, what did you say you were having a good time? Nothing. Ye Li glanced at the clock and got up from the sofa. It's getting late. Get dressed and go to school. I have to go out too. Wait a moment. Jessica raised her leg at this time, and hooked the smooth instep of Ye Li's leg in a flattering gesture. Brother, do me a favor. Number 37, it's here. Ye Li took the address given by Zhang's sister and found the location of her detective agency. Anyway, I happen to be visiting Hell's Kitchen, just help her come and have a look. He opened the door with the key and walked into the detective agency. Ye Li looked around. Compared with the Ghost Spider Club, this place was a small place. It was just a temporary storefront rented by Jessica. It was very deserted and looked like it could close down at any time. It was nothing special. Ye Li also pulled over Jessica. Ka sat down on the decent office chair and waited. Someone who claimed to be a lawyer made a reservation. He was coming to the detective agency today, presumably for some commission, but Jessica had to go to school and was not free. She originally wanted to come and take a look at Toski, but in the end it was handed over to the very idle Ye Li. P.S. Chapter 66 has been released. Yenzu who hasn't read it can check it out, but there's not much content after the changes, thanks to the reviewers for their hard work. Chuan. Chapter 72. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Ye Li figured that the client must be hiring Jessica to dig up dirt for some case. At least it wasn't another cheating spouse gig. A lawyer was already a rare find for Jessica's agency. After all, not many people knew the woman running the place was secretly a superhero. The neighbors were too caught up in their own dead-end lives to pay attention to the news. Back when Ye Li visited the agency, Jessica always wore a beret and glasses, disguise, she'd call it. Ye Li had even tried on the detective look himself. Thinking back, he'd assumed she was just in one of her moods, but now he realized she was fresh off a case. Maybe he'd have her try it again tonight. Knock, knock, star. Come in, Ye Li said casually. Doors unlocked. Outside the door. Matt Murdock, Daredevil, paused mid-knock. A man's voice. As a street-level hero who'd battled Kingpin for ages, Matt saw an opportunity now that Kingpin was behind bars. He wanted to nail Kingpin for real, not just the country club prison the guy had built for himself. That's when Jessica and her new detective agency caught his attention. He found out about her superhero gig. Compared to Daredevil, who was only known in Hell's Kitchen, this female knight was an internet sensation. So Matt figured he'd pay her a visit, see if she could help him take down Kingpin. But what was with the dude's voice? A new partner? But it didn't sound like some errand boy. Daredevil might be blind, but his other senses were on point. He could hear the confidence, the indifference in Ye Li's voice. All this flashed through his mind in a split second. He shook it off, opened the door, and walked in. Ye Li took one look at the guy in the red tights and knew instantly, Daredevil. Ye Li knew about Daredevil. In the Marvel Universe, plenty of heroes had it rough, getting beat down by villains and losing loved ones left and right. But Daredevil Matt Murdock was in a league of his own. He constantly got pummeled by Kingpin and his goons. His girlfriends were always getting kidnapped by Bullseye. One of them would die every other week, and the ones who survived ended up in the loony bin. In the Daredevil comics, there was this character, Karen Page, Murdock's secretary. After they broke up, she even became an actress in adult films. Who knew what she was up to now? You could say Daredevil's life was the polar opposite of what Ye Li wanted. The guy had a talent for attracting misery. Morning, Ye Li said, crossing his legs and acting like he didn't give a damn about Murdock. Jessica's busy. I'm her brother, Ye Li. I'm handling things for her. Got a case? Her brother, huh? They don't look related. Matt shook his head. Better for regular folks not to know what I'm about to say. You know your sister's deal, right? He didn't want to drag any innocent bystanders into this. Then you should also know. Ye Li sneered, Jessica's just a high schooler. Her being a superhero is messing with your head, Daredevil. Ye Li's words hit Murdock like a bucket of ice water. Right. How could I get a kid involved? She's just a kid. I messed up. It was one thing for this female knight to volunteer as a hero. It was another for him to come looking for her. And her brother probably wasn't thrilled about his sister risking her neck either. Thinking about the guy in front of him, Matt apologized. My bad. I spaced. Just tell her I cancelled. After apologizing, Matt felt embarrassed about his screw-up and turned to leave, but then he stopped dead in his tracks. Someone's watching this place, coming in fast. And there's more than one group. Matt pulled out his billy clubs and flicked them open. Might be after me. Mr. Yi, you should hide. With his super hearing, he could pick up sounds from blocks away. Ye Li didn't move, just furrowed his brow. He was thinking about how to make someone suffer. Detected, Jessica Ye's nemesis, the Purple Man, Zebediah Kilgrave. Also detected, the red-haired woman in a blonde wig is staking out the location. Meanwhile, a woman with blonde wig squatted on the roof of a nearby building, her binoculars trained on the detective agency. Must be Hell's Kitchen. Where Daredevil hangs out, Barbara thought, pulling a fried chicken leg from a family bucket and shoving it in her mouth. She'd followed Ye Li, figuring she could get closer to him while he was alone. But she hadn't expected him to wind up in Hell's Kitchen. Sensing something was up, she'd kept her distance and observed. And sure enough, Daredevil showed up. Is he recruiting new heroes for his squad? Something's fishy, now that the Ghost Spider Club was getting bigger, and Gwen's online fame was blowing up, Nick Fury was paying way more attention to them. So Barbara's workload had doubled. She was supposed to be checking out the Ghost Spiders, contacting Silk, investigating Black Cat, befriending Skye, and keeping tabs on Ye Li, Barbara seethed. Damn Fury. Where's Natasha when you need her? What am I, chopped liver? She bit into the chicken leg, shattering the bones. And that backstabbing Hill is always playing phone tag. If she's so smart, she can come investigate the club herself. Ye Li would love those legs. Wait, who were these guys? Barbara was busy fantasizing about setting Hill up when she saw a group of people heading for the detective agency. She stopped gnawing on her chicken, activated her binoculars lenses, and focused on the leader. The lens analyzed his facial features and cross-referenced it with the SHIELD database. Supercriminal Zebediah Kilgrave, aka Purple Man, possesses hypnotic control, can control hundreds or thousands of people. History of violent crimes, including rape and assault. The infamous Purple Man. Barbara shuddered. Even though she'd been trained to resist psychic attacks, she was still afraid of the Purple Man. He was seriously dangerous. And she'd heard. Purple Man wasn't just interested in women. Mr. Ye Li is in trouble. Barbara started to weigh her options. Should she call Gwen? Or maybe tip off the bureau and score some brownie points? Daredevil was still inside. Could he handle the Purple Man? Ultimately, Barbara decided to have SHIELD send backup while she kept an eye on things, ready to intervene or call Gwen at a moment's notice. Better safe than sorry. That's what made her a pro. Feeling proud, Barbara reached into the family bucket, grabbed a piece of popcorn chicken, and popped it in her mouth. The faint crunch, crunch, crunch echoed across the rooftops. A little burnt. Guess I won't be buying from this chain again. There it is. My little beauty. The weirdo in the purple suit strolled through the crowd and stopped in front of the detective agency. His skin was purple. A bunch of armed guys followed him. But the people on the street didn't seem to notice. They ignored the group completely, like they weren't even there. If you looked closely, you'd see their eyes glaze over when the Purple Man passed by, then snap back to normal once he was out of sight. The gun-toting goons had the same dead-eyed stare. They were obviously under his control. I'm here. Kilgrave had heard that the new detective agency was run by a total knockout, so he'd hypnotized some muscle and come to pay her a visit. He had a long history of using his powers to humiliate the women he wanted. He figured this time would be no different. Too bad for you. You're in the wrong place at the wrong time. Kilgrave saw that the door was unlocked. Grinning, he opened it, ready to meet his new toy. But he noticed someone behind the door and instantly recoiled, shoving one of his thralls in front of him. The next moment, the door was shoved open by an arm in red tights. Murdoch stood there, holding his billy clubs. Purple Man. Night Stalker. The Purple Man backed up, using his meat shields for cover. Daredevil. What are you doing here? Kilgrave had a good reason to be wary of Murdoch. His powers didn't work on everyone. People with strong wills or different physiologies could resist his control. Daredevil was both strong-willed and had a unique sensory system. He was one of the few who could shrug off Kilgrave's powers. What am I doing here? Matt was confused by Kilgrave's question. Didn't you just show up? But then his lawyer brain kicked in. Right. Purple Man's a sex-crazed psycho, asterisk he probably didn't know about the female knight and assumed she was just a pretty detective. Matt wasn't about to back down. Fighting criminals was what he did. He twirled a billy club, splitting it into two sections connected by a wire. He launched them, accurately wrapping the wire around a gun and yanking it away, or just knocking the gunmen on their asses. Kilgrave scowled and ordered his brainwashed goons to open fire. The gunfire was deafening. "If I can't control you, I'll just blow you away." Matt's heightened senses let him dodge bullets, but Kilgrave had too many guys and too much firepower. It wasn't Daredevil's home turf, and he was getting hammered. He saw an opening and charged. The Purple Man hid behind a human shield. Daredevil's no-kill rule was holding him back. Ye Li watched the whole thing and sighed. "You put shackles on yourself. No wonder the bad guys always kick your ass." Daredevil. Kilgrave saw that he was gaining the upper hand and started to gloat. "You're a rat in the night. Your kind doesn't belong in the daylight." Oh, the dog's barking again. Ye Li had seen enough. He pressed a finger to his bracelet. The black ring started to spin on his wrist. He vanished from his seat. The bracelet's stealth function kept his disappearance from being noticed, even by Daredevil. At the same moment, bang, a hole ripped open in the sky above the detective agency. A metal object like a giant cocoon plunged down at breakneck speed. With a click of unfolding wings, the fans whirred to life. Naturally, this was the Vulture, summoned by Ye Li. What now? Kilgrave saw the Birdman falling from the sky and ordered his goons to open fire. Clang, clang, clang. After Ye Li had beefed up the Vulture armor, it was strong enough to go toe-to-toe with Tony. The gangster's bullets couldn't even scratch the folded metal wings. Kilgrave tried to control the Vulture, but his powers had no effect. It wasn't a matter of resistance, like with Daredevil. The connection was completely severed. The Vulture was an emotionless killing machine. Kilgrave watched as a pair of silver claws closed on him. No. Desperate, he tried to use his human shields, hoping to give the Vulture pause. But the metal claws pierced through his shoulders without slowing, pinning him and his meat puppet. The Vulture locked its claws around Kilgrave's bones, shot back into the sky, and disappeared. Murdoch just stood there, dumbfounded. Who was that guy? P.S. The author knows that some timelines were incorrect. Some plot points will be adjusted. Don't get bogged down in the details. Think of it as a parallel universe. Chapter 73. You are listening at novelfull.audio. How's it going? Hawkeye Barton secured the sling to the building's roof and landed on Barbara's floor. Hope I'm not too late. Afraid so. Barbara stated flatly, "You are late, Barton." Hawkeye paused, lowering his bow. Something happened? Nope. Barbara focused the telescope. Solved. Vulture took care of it. I'm thinking it's tied to Black Spider. We dealt with Green Goblin last time, and he showed up with Black Spider too. It seems like Ye Li might be the connection between Black Spider and the Ghost Spider Club. We need to keep a close eye on that VP. Right. Hawkeye stowed his bow. Battles were his thing, the power plays weren't. Reported to Nick. Asterisk bang, star dot on a nearby rooftop, the Vulture dumped Zirin at Ye Li's feet, the black ring on Ye Li's wrist slowed to a stop. What surprised Ye Li, though, was that the Vulture had also grabbed the guy Zirin used as a human shield, impaling him through the heart. Ye Li didn't give a damn about the maggot's life, but he recognized him. It was Flash Thompson, the guy who'd bonded with Venom. Looks like Venom ditched him, or he wouldn't be dead here. If things had gone according to plan, Thompson would have become a Venom agent, almost a superhero. Too bad for him. Ignoring Thompson's corpse, Ye Li turned his attention to the whimpering Purple Man at his feet, a faint, sinister smile on his face. Guess what I'm gonna do? Kilgrave was trembling, sweat pouring down. Since Ye Li wasn't wearing the Night Spider suit, Kilgrave couldn't figure out who he was, but the puppet Vulture and Green Goblin standing nearby gave him a clue. This guy can control the missing Vulture and Green Goblin. Maybe he's a behind-the-scenes boss like Kingpin. You. You want me to help you with something? Kilgrave choked, thinking he'd guessed right. No problem. Any rich guy or official you want controlled, I can do it. He groveled, desperate to prove his loyalty. He was out of options. His powers were useless on everyone here. Ye Li ignored him and walked to the edge of the rooftop, gazing at the city. Mr. Kilgrave deserves a little hello first. He finished, and the Green Goblin robotically stepped forward, grabbed Kilgrave by the neck, and dragged him to the vulture. Under Kilgrave's horrified stare, the vulture slowly unfolded its metal wings, sharp as blades. This. No. When Ye Li turned back, Kilgrave's screams had died down to whimpers, tears streaming down his face, his eyes blinded by pain. The vulture had thoughtfully performed a limb removal surgery. Heard you like hypnosis and humiliation. Ye Li's smile widened. He casually planted the sole of his shoe on Ziren's face. Thinking of taking advantage of my sister, huh? Ziren's pupils dilated. Only now did he understand why he'd ended up like this. I like cute girls too, maybe we can chat. It was a bit different from his usual easygoing manner. Kilgrave was in too much agony to answer, only able to whimper. No worries, doesn't matter if you don't say anything. Ye Li lifted his foot, turning to leave Kilgrave with a parting message. I like comparisons. The Green Goblin, taking Ye Li's place, snatched a pumpkin grenade from his belt, crouched down, forced Kilgrave's jaw open, and shoved it in. Then he pulled the pin. MMPH. MMPH. In Ziren's terror of awaiting death, boom. Ye Li spread his arms wide, brilliant fireworks exploding behind him. You have defeated Jessica Ye's destined enemy. As her family member, you may choose one of the following rewards. ***1. Monetary reward, $1 million $***2. Random reward, absolute psychic shield superpower $***3. Servant reward, transform Zebediah Kilgrave and obtain an absolutely loyal servant star. Number 2, Ye Li said instantly, absolute psychic shield, grants the recipient an absolute defense against psychic attacks. The shield is not unlimited, 10 shields are initially loaded, and one will be automatically generated over time. Ye Li used one on himself, and planned to use them on Gwen and the others when he got back. This reward had come at the perfect time. It didn't make him greedy, but it didn't make him happy either. Dealing with the Purple Man was like stepping in dog shit. It just ruined your day. Good thing there were still some hand ninjas he could take his anger out on. Hey! Mr. Yi. You seem to have been gone for a while. Here. Murdoch was searching the detective agency. After the vulture grabbed Ziren, he turned around to find Ye Li had disappeared. Ye Li walked out of the bathroom. Matt looked puzzled. There's gunfire outside, and you're in the bathroom? You know, like in a movie, Ye Li said casually. Gotta pee sometime. Murdoch stared. Did he think his fighting was like a bad movie? Night Stalker. Accompanied by a female voice, a woman in a red ninja outfit appeared in the doorway. It was Daredevil's frenemy, Elektra. Then, she and Murdoch started fighting outside the door, love oozing from every blow. Elektra showing up meant the hand wasn't far behind, and soon ninjas were leaping out to help. Ye Li smiled. He didn't even have to go looking, the punching bag was delivered right to his door, and so it began. Vulture star. Summon star. Green Goblin star. Summon star. Electro star. Summon star. A few minutes later, the vulture's metal wings were covered in the bloodied corpses of several hand ninjas. The Green Goblin pinned 2 ninjas to the alley wall, grinding them against the brick as his glider zoomed back and forth, while the vulture and Green Goblin could barely hold their own against the ninjas. Electro was a one-sided massacre. Lightning bolts tore through the ranks, leaving them all dead. In the end, only Elektra remained. She got away because she was a neon native who lived a good life, and ran away in despair. This again. Murdoch was broken, again. If he was Chinese, you may even suspect that you are the destined son in the novel, the kind who has a big boss behind you to help you all the time. Sunset time. The hand got wiped out. Jessica blinked her big eyes. Bro, what did you see? Ye Li nodded. Saw it with my own eyes. You should stay away from their fights. Jessica clung to his arm. Too dangerous. Ye Li shrugged. But, they were fighting right near the detective agency. Oh, right. Jessica felt guilty. I thought it wasn't so dangerous outside Hell's Kitchen. Sorry, bro. So how are you gonna make it up to me? Ye Li thought of the purple man he just dealt with, ruffled Jessica's hair, and said pointedly, you know how much I worry about you. Well. Jessica blushed. I'll wear my detective outfit tonight. You said you liked it. The golden sunset reflected on her red face, making her even more beautiful. Jessica. Ye Li stopped, placing his hands on his sister's shoulders, his expression serious. I think, we can take that step. That, can't, Jessica mumbled, burying her face in his chest, her voice barely audible. We're brother and sister. Not biologically. Ye Li put his arm around her, stroking her back, and quietly blessed her with a spiritual shield. Besides, I've already done everything before that step. Jessica didn't respond. After a long moment, she remained in his arms, the two shadows stretching long under the setting sun. Okay. Finally, Jessica looked up, her eyes more expressive than ever. Then wait for me. With that, she broke free and ran home. Ye Li blinked. What? Cats can go into heat under natural conditions, except during the hottest dog days of summer, but the best breeding season is spring and autumn. After school, Felicia returned home before Ye Li and Jessica and turned on the TV. She wasn't sporting cat ears or a tail, she could control those, otherwise she'd give herself away as Black Cat the moment she stepped outside. Whoosh, Felicia caught a blur of motion. Jessica. Bro, it's okay. Come on in. Hearing Jessica's unusually shy voice, Ye Li opened the door and stepped inside. Jessica had changed into a light, comfortable matching outfit made of gauze. The setting sun streamed in through the window, turning her pale skin a warm, sun-kissed shade. Jessica wore a small black tube top which revealed her slender waist. The cute little belly button cannot be seen because of the black high-waisted shorts. The shorts aren't very revealing. The hem reaches just above the knees. Her outfit looked pure, also added a bit of conservatism. Ye Li observed how the soft fabric was the kind that could be easily torn off once it was pulled on. Come closer. Jessica looked determined, focused on Ye Li. She bit her lip and said softly, I want to be somewhere special. Special? Ye Li was getting more confused. Follow me. She stepped onto the window sill, bathed in the silver glow, opening the window to a breeze that ruffled her black hair. Come on. Jessica waved him over. Jessica, you don't want to go out like that, do you? Ye Li walked toward her, but his sister suddenly wrapped him in a hug. Jessica put her arm around her brother's waist and winked at him playfully. It's okay, we're not walking anyway. The silver light took up the ribbon and extended from the window to the sky. The wind whistled in his ears. Jessica held tight as they climbed higher and higher, until, bang, they burst through the clouds and stood on the vast sea of clouds. Distance, the setting sun dyed the clouds in gold, beautiful scenery and silence. All noise disappeared except the sound of the wind between heaven and earth. It seemed like there were only two figures embracing each other. How about it, bro? It's nice up here, isn't it? Her delicate hand floated through the white clouds, a fine mist gathering in her palm. I asked Skye to check the flight paths, no commercial planes passing through today. Ye Li reached out and grabbed the clouds. What now? What do you do when your sister is being romantic? Waiting for answers online, help. Oh, yeah. Weather control. Ye Li knew how to seize the moment. How could Jessica take the lead at such a critical moment? Jessica. Hearing her brother's voice, Jessica asked nervously, is it time to start? Ye Li whispered in her ear, I found a weird-shaped cloud right behind you. Wanna see? Bro, really? Looking at clouds at a time like this? How weird could it be? But Jessica turned around anyway, and saw, the golden love cloud, more dazzling than the sunset. Perfectly shaped, like a painter's brushstroke across the sky. Wow! Nature is amazing, Her eyes sparkled. Girls loved pretty things, even the usually carefree Jessica. Don't just look at the clouds. I have something even more amazing to show you. The sun set in the west, the clouds swirled, and pink limbs and jade arms grew closer, swallowed the clouds and spit out the mist. Ye Li never forgot to use the chicken charm to prevent anyone from thinking that today's weather forecast was wrong. Below. P.S. Jessica is considered complete, although the title of the book is Gwen, the younger sister's role is actually a little more. Chapter 74. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Okay, here we go. The TV flickered on. At 6:12 p.m., right at sunset, a massive heart-shaped cloud appeared over New York City's Lower East Side. It was so beautiful, couples everywhere started making wishes. Experts say it's caused by an updraft hitting a heat source, intense air friction, water molecule ejection, that's how it forms. Cats. Ivan Vanko wasn't interested. He switched the channel. It takes most countries 5 to 10 years, but for Hammer Industries, it'll be at least 20. But I did you a huge solid. I'm single-handedly maintaining world peace. What more do you want? I'm trying to work with these clowns. Screw you, Mr. Stark. Meeting adjourned. That's all for today. Listen, I'm here for all the people, honored to serve my country. Channel changes, that I am Iron Man, crack. Star. A flash of blue and white light, sparks flying, the TV split in two. Hello. Ye Li smoothed his hair, answered the phone. Pepper, what's up? Sorry to bother you, Mr. Yi. Pepper said, I just think you're such a smart and thoughtful guy. Something came up, and I wanted your opinion. No pressure if you're busy. Oh. What's going on? Ye Li asked lazily. Actually, I'm bored. Happy to chat. Take your time. Hearing that, Pepper got right into it. You know Tony, he's always pulling surprises. She knew Tony and Ye Li were close these days, so she didn't hold back, talking casually. He donated his entire modern art collection to the Boy Scouts, Pepper continued, except for your Iron Man painting. He climbed on the table and hung it up right in front of my desk. I have no idea what he's thinking. Not that your painting isn't good, Mr. Yi. Ye Li cut in. Okay, Pepper, but is that it? The biggest thing is, what Tony told me later. Pepper sounded uneasy. He wants me to be the CEO of Stark Industries. He's asking me to be his successor. I don't know what to think. Hearing this, Ye Li instantly figured it out. Palladium poisoning. Stark was getting his affairs in order, but he kept that to himself. Let Stark handle his own problems. Ye Li encouraged Pepper. Pepper, don't sell yourself short. Just do your best. That's all anyone can ask. I think Tony sees you as family. Family? Pepper repeated the word softly. After a pause, she smiled. Thanks, Li. Anytime. Goodbye, Pepper. Remember, family. The late-night call ended. Ah. A soft murmur. Ye Li glanced over. His good sister was sleeping soundly, a happy little smile on her face, one shoulder exposed. He smiled, he pulled up the sheet, he wanted to cover Jessica up. Someone was already holding it. Ye Li looked the other way. Gwen and Felicia, the two girls, were fast asleep. Their legs were tangled together, and they were clutching the sheet. Never mind. You girls aren't gonna get cold anyway. It was late. Ye Li drifted off. Another great day in the books. Later, Malibu, California, Tony Stark's beachfront mansion. I forgot to ask you last time, Li. Tony, sparring with Happy in the ring, called out to Ye Li. How'd you get here from New York on that motorcycle? How fast does that thing go? Ye Li just said, consider it Eastern magic. Yeah, right. Forget it if you don't want to tell me. Tony wasn't buying any magic stuff. Stephen Strange hadn't even had his car accident yet. Ye Li grabbed a drink from the shelf, a green bottle. What's this? Looks green. Wanna try my chlorophyll juice? Tony grinned. It's pretty good. Ye Li tossed it aside in disgust. Tony, you promised you wouldn't lie to me anymore. Oh, sorry. Force of habit. Hiya. Tony dodged Happy's punch and landed an elbow to the face, thwack, star. Damn. Happy stumbled back, surprised. What move was that? My bad. Tony bounced around. It's called mixed martial arts. It's only been popular for, 3 weeks. That's called dirty boxing. Happy said, unimpressed. And it's been around forever. Oh. Li taught it to me. Tony proudly pointed at Ye Li. Don't stick to the rulebook. The other guy isn't gonna follow the rules, right? Ye Li nodded. That's right, Tony. You're a fast learner. Happy rolled his eyes. These two were impossible. Okay, Happy. Back at it. Tony was ready for another round. The notary's here, Tony. Come sign the papers. I promise, this is the only time I'll ask you to transfer your company to me. Pepper walked in, asking Tony to come down and sign. She winked at Ye Li, mouthing thank you. Ye Li gave a polite little nod back. Oh, and what about my juice? Tony, still in play mode, didn't want to get out of the ring. We're having fun. Happy saw Pepper wink at Ye Li and thought she was checking him out, so he warned Tony, careful, boss. What? Tony paused. A woman with auburn curly hair walked in, holding a black folder. Natasha, in a white shirt and black pants, looked sharp and professional. Stark was immediately captivated. Ye Li stopped drinking too, watching with interest. The Black Widow was definitely something. Natasha glanced at Ye Li, cataloging him. The information from her colleague Barbara popped into her mind, another person of interest. Vice President of the Ghost Spider Club, unofficial brother of Jessica Drew, the Nitress, the club's real backbone, close connections to Ghost Spider, Nitress, Black Cat, Daisy Johnson, Spider-Silk Cindy, and others. Recent reports indicate a connection to the Black Spider. The info flashed by, and Natasha saw Ye Li in person. He's definitely good looking, no wonder he can attract so many girls. And the way he's sucking on that juice makes Stark look cool. Looks like Pepper's the one who needs to watch out. Happy punched Tony, who couldn't take his eyes off Natasha. Rule number 1, keep your eyes on the fight, pal. Tony kicked him to the corner and followed up with a combo. Stark was showing off the moves Ye Li taught him. Luckily, Happy had protective gear on. Ding, ding, ding. Ye Li rang the bell and saved Happy. I'm done. Happy took off his gear and jumped out of the ring. Li. Tony called to Ye Li. What's up? Ye Li sat back down. Want another round? Nah. Tony didn't want to look bad in front of the new woman. Can you get me my chlorophyll juice? Here. Ye Li flicked his wrist, and the mug landed perfectly in Tony's hands. Natasha's eyes flickered. Most people wouldn't notice anything, but as an expert, she could pick up on Ye Li's arm strength and other details. Please initial here. Natasha was multitasking. While observing Ye Li, she handed the document to Pepper. So, Tony said, taking a swig, what's your name? Natasha Romanoff. Natasha replied calmly. Tony waved her over. Get in the ring. Pepper protested, you don't want her to. Tony cut her off. I'm the boss. Pepper looked at Ye Li. Where is the family she promised? Ye Li shrugged. I don't think this is a good idea either. Natasha readily agreed and stepped into the ring. She clearly wasn't worried about Tony's fighting skills. Natasha had been an agent for years. She was more than a match for Tony, who had barely started learning to fight. I think this is a great idea. Tony waved to Ye Li again. Come on, Li, get up here. Show her a few moves. Me? Ye Li glanced at Natasha. Seriously? I'm just supposed to fight her. He thought for a moment, then he slowly walked onto the stage. I mean, if she's cute, I could hang around a few times. After Ye Li stood on the stage, not to be outdone, Ye Li smiled lightly, crossed his arms, and scanned her unscrupulously. He usually hung out with girls like Gwen and the others, even Kate Mara was about his age. It was the first time he had come into contact with a beautiful woman like this. Ye Li can't help but feel a little strange. What kind of style would such a beauty have? Within a few seconds, both of them were silent and did not speak. Whoever speaks first loses. Tony in the audience looked very pained, wasn't he? I'll let you go up and teach me how to do it. Why are you two looking at each other so affectionately? Ahem. Mr. Stark coughed twice and reminded someone not to pick up girls at his house. Li, you can start. I will pay for Miss Natasha's tuition. Suddenly. Ye Li whistled. Let's get started. Miss Natasha, have you ever learned fighting? Knowing everything before asking questions first. Yes. The corners of Natasha's lips curled up, as if she couldn't help but smile. She was confident that she could knock down Ye Li. How does she feel now? It can be described as pretending to be a pig and eating the tiger. It's also about being an agent, one of the few joys. You talk so little, with a reserved attitude. Do you take the initiative to seduce a man and start the conversation? You can attack when you advance, and you can defend when you retreat. It seems passive, but it is actually active. For the martial arts contest, Ye Li didn't care. On the contrary, it was the competition with Natasha in certain aspects that made him surprisingly interested. Like Jessica and the others, they are soft and cute. Ignorant girls are naturally not proficient in anything. Between men and women, you advance and I retreat and you advance. A struggle for sovereignty, basically. Whatever Ye Li said, they would listen obediently. This is of course good, as it saves worry and trouble. But, this did not affect his interest in competing with the Black Widow in special skills. Natasha saw that Ye Li didn't respond immediately after she had finished her reply, and she couldn't help but feel secretly, why did this man seem a little stupid? It's not usually the young girls who take the initiative, right? She had no choice but to take the initiative and said, why don't we discuss it first? No problem. Ye Li made a gesture. Traditional martial arts, stop here. Natasha tilted her head. What kind of idea is this? She has spent so many years, countless enemies have fought against each other. Why haven't you seen anything like this? Miss Natasha. Come back to reality. Ye Li controlled his strength, and slapped Natasha's ear with a palm that was no more than a mortal's. The strong wind picked up a few strands of her hair. Hearing the whistling wind in her ears, Natasha's heart skipped a beat. Shocked, her eyes looked at Ye Li with a bit of surprise. Although she underestimated the enemy, if Ye Li's palm had not avoided her, but had hit her face, I guess that tall nose will be flattened. Hey, Li, be careful not to hurt her pretty face. Seeing that Ye Li almost slapped Natasha in the face, Tony secretly felt that he really didn't care about her. I don't know how I found those top beauties. Chapter 75. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Whoa. Natasha took a breath and smiled. Mr. Li, you're too good. I'm clearly outmatched. If she could have easily beaten Ye Li, Natasha wouldn't have hesitated to show off. But judging by the power of that last move, she'd have to go all out to even compete. Black Widow doesn't roll that way. A seasoned agent never reveals her full hand just to win a fight. Could you teach me that? Natasha moved closer. A light perfume scent, Britney Spears, maybe? Wafted around her. Naturally, Ye Li obliged, pulling her close and explaining the fundamentals. Cindy and the other girls acted shy around him, but this was different. There was nothing odd about their interaction. Ye Li and Natasha were all business. The spectators in the ring didn't care, but those on the sidelines had different reactions. Pepper rubbed her temples. Why did Li and a beautiful woman always create this charged atmosphere? An air diffuser of awkwardness. Tony, for some reason, felt a sting of jealousy. Teaching her how to fight, hugging her while doing it, as Natasha followed his lead, she was surprised by Ye Li's techniques. Despite her decades of experience, she was learning new things in just a few minutes. Her combat skills had been stagnant for a while now. Even a small improvement was a big deal. And she felt like she was just scratching the surface. After the lesson, Natasha made the first move, swapping contact information. We should talk more, she said, slipping the note with her number into his pocket. Get more in depth, you know? She meant a deeper dive into fighting techniques. Of course, but used the suggestive wording deliberately, hoping her looks would entice him. After they exchanged numbers, Ye Li wrapped up his time with Natasha and rejoined Gwen and the others on the sofa. He preferred the cute and sexy good girl vibe. "My turn," Tony announced, emboldened by Ye Li's quick victory over Natasha. He jumped into the ring, ready to fight. It went as expected. Natasha, after getting a few tips from Li, easily put Tony down. Ouch. Tony rubbed his back and sat down next to Ye Li. "Li, your moves aren't that great. I couldn't even beat her. Practice more." Ye Li didn't even look up. "Without what I taught you, she would have taken you down in one move." "What you looking at?" Tony leaned in. "More of those dancing girls. Your girls are way prettier." "News," Ye Li replied, indulging Tony's curiosity by showing him the phone. "Milwaukee, gamma infection. Patient drank a bottle of guarana soda." "Oh, that's old news," Tony said. "I think your heart cloud would be cooler. Girls would love it." "Mr. Stark," Natasha interrupted, handing him a document. "I need your fingerprints here." "Okay, Pepper's the boss now, anyway." Tony stamped his red fingerprint on the transfer papers. Then, back to Ye Li. "Li, you interested in racing in Morocco?" "Huh. It's gonna be wild this time." The next day, at a Ghost Spider Club subsidiary, the Pharmaceutical Research Institute, beep, 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 the sounds of instruments mingled with the hum of machines. Before Walter ran off, he handed the secret super soldier serum to his daughter, Felicia, and she passed it on to Ye Li as thanks. Now, with complete data, the serum had been successfully developed. Next, they would create a weakened, diluted version, and sell it as a health supplement. Money would come pouring in. "Honey. Don't call me that." Ye Li took a picture of Kate Mara and said calmly, "Now that I've asked for it, Ross has agreed. Have him set a time to send someone to get the serum injected." "So cold," Kate Mara sighed. "After all I've done for you, can't you be a little nicer?" "I'll be nice right now." Ye Li pulled her towards his office in the Research Institute. Kate Mara was different from Gwen. She wasn't a potential superhero or part of any grand scheme. Ye Li didn't have much affection for her, their connection was purely physical. The reason Kate Mara was still around was her connection to Ross. Gwen and the others were the main course, but this fierce female cop was a nice little dessert, and Kate Mara, as she put it, wanted to give her purity to an exceptional man, and Ye Li was her choice. She decided where to book the hotel within seconds of meeting him. "Am I being nice to you, Kate?" "Yes." Kate Mara replied dreamily. She'd made the right call. You had to be decisive. Hesitation led to failure. The more time went on, the more grateful Kate Mara would be for that decision. Being Ye Li's woman, even without a formal relationship, was an incredible opportunity. "Then bite this." Ye Li held a round object to Kate Mara's lips. "What's this?" She couldn't see it clearly from her angle, but the smell and feel seemed familiar. "Just your police badge," Ye Li explained. "The one you dropped." "Oh." Obediently, the female cop held the badge, symbol of her sacred profession, between her teeth. Time flew. At a U.S. military base. "General Ross, we're ready. Just waiting for you to send someone over," Kate Mara told Ross. "Excellent work, Ms. Kate. Though, I think, you're due for a new badge." Ross noticed the tooth marks. After decades in high positions, he knew exactly what was up. Kate Mara was now with Ye Li. The reports were accurate. This guy lived up to his reputation. Ross had considered sending his own people to seduce Ye Li, but he soon discovered that Ye Li had very high standards. Analysts determined that only this particular female cop had the potential to attract him. He had no choice but to ask Kate Mara for help. Kate Mara, intrigued by the famous Ye Li, agreed to initiate contact. She wasn't a trained spy, she wasn't under his command, and they weren't even part of the same organization. "Okay, but I want to keep this as a souvenir." Kate Mara smiled politely and tucked the badge away, then turned to leave. Blonsky, waiting in the shadows, asked, will the serum restore my youth, sir? More than that. You know Captain America. Ross tapped his cigar. Your dream is about to come true, soldier. Doctor Strange, what's this? A doctor asked, spotting a receipt. You're not thinking of entering that Moroccan race, are you? It's too dangerous for us doctors. Relax, I'm just going to unwind. Cars are a hobby of mine, I'll keep it slow. Competing for the championship? I'm not that stupid. If you say so. Strange's arrogance made the other doctor uncomfortable. He secretly hoped Strange would get injured, just to knock that pride down a peg. Unnoticed, a figure in yellow robes stood outside the window, a folding fan covering his face. Though the timeline has shifted, you'll still follow this path, Strange. Inside, Gwen, wearing her ghost spider suit, picked up a vial. Li, is this the secret of Felicia's dad? Enhance the human body, super soldier. She looked at the label, surprised. No wonder S.H.I.E.L.D. wants it. Gwen knew more about serum than most. Don't be so impressed, Ye Li said, checking his watch. This stuff isn't as powerful as you are. And they're here. Don't worry, Li, I'll make you proud. Gwen grinned under her mask. While some saw the Ghost Spider Club as just a bit of fun, it was already a large-scale superhero organization, a step ahead of the Avengers. Its various branches generated capital, and new locations had opened in several places. Gwen's popularity had even given her some influence in political circles. Skye had been managing these things, proving to be very smart. After all, in the original comics, Daisy Johnson had been the director of S.H.I.E.L.D., so Ye Li and Jessica wouldn't have any issues managing the club's assets. Of course, they couldn't do it alone. The Ghost Spider Club had been developing rapidly. Even S.H.I.E.L.D. had started to take notice. It was hard to believe it had started as a high school club. Ye Li's connections and Stark Industries' help were major factors. General Ross arrived with his men, including Blonsky and a group of armed soldiers. General Ross, have your men wait outside. Don't scare my scientists, Ye Li warned. The soldiers raised their guns. Gwen's eyes narrowed as the purple and pink lines on her suit glowed. For spider-like mechanical limbs unfolded from her back, their tips glowing with pink energy like miniature lightsabers. These were the energy weapons Tony had promised. Not as powerful as the originals, but they could cut through metal. You guys, stay outside, Ross ordered, his eyes showing fear. It wasn't just Ghost Spider. It was the whole Ghost Spider Club and all its superhuman members, not to mention Black Spider. That was why Ross was cooperating. One Hulk was enough. Black Spider was even worse, not a righteous hero at all. Once, a crime boss hadn't taken Black Spider seriously and put a bounty on his head. The next night, his entire family was dead. The person who ordered the investigation was killed, too. After that, nobody dared care. Cases involving Black Spider were classified as top secret. The Hulk lost control when he was angry. Black Spider planned everything, and Ross didn't have a daughter who was dating Black Spider, so, he politely accompanied Ye Li, leading Blonsky to the injection room. Boss, I need your key here, the technician said. Ye Li unlocked a liquid nitrogen tank. Inside was a small dose of the serum. He knew Ross was using this to deal with Banner, but that didn't matter. Although he and Banner had been friendly, Blonsky wouldn't stand a chance against the Hulk. He might as well cut a deal and get a favor from Ross, namely, William Stryker, but that was for the future. The injection will be in 2 parts. One deep into the muscle, the other into the bone marrow, Ye Li explained. The technician held the syringe to Blonsky's neck. The second one will hurt. As the serum entered, ag. Even the tough-as-nails Blonsky screamed in pain, begging. Chapter 76. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Virginia, University of Corvo, invisible spider silk clings to the school tower, seemingly vanishing in the sunlight. Gwen wrapped her arms around Ye Li, hugging him tightly around the waist that she adored, as they walked towards the center of the university. Li, why did we come all the way out here? Gwen shielded her eyes, studying the academy in the sunlight, trying to see what made it different from her high school. This was her first time in Virginia, and being with Ye Li gave her a sweet, travel-like feeling. Ye Li replied casually, just killing time. Seeing how effective the serum is and giving you a new perspective. A new perspective. Gwen figured he meant taking her out for fun, so she pouted. Humph, so stingy, not taking me somewhere more romantic for that. Seems like we're on different wavelengths, but when it comes to Gwen being spoiled, Ye Li is always happy to indulge her. Instead of explaining, he teased, how about Monaco next time? There's a racing competition. Racing? She made a face. No way. Gwen puffed out her cheeks. Such a guy. She couldn't care less about racing. It annoyed her that he wouldn't try to win her over when she liked him so much. Sigh, Gwen can be tough to please sometimes, but that's okay. Ye Li has plenty of ways to handle girls. He subtly manipulated the air currents, creating a breeze through the gardens of Corvo University. The breeze carried petals of various colors toward the top of the tower. Petals? So pretty, Gwen gasped, reaching out to catch a pure white petal drifting around her. Li, I didn't expect this place to be so romantic too. Really? I'm surprised. Ye Li said absent-mindedly, taking the opportunity to move closer. He leaned in and said, 583. Golden threads fluttered. Gwen obediently removed her battle suit and headgear, closed her eyes, and offered her soft lips to her lover. What's with the wind today? Oh my God. The flowers from the green belt are blowing everywhere. Ye Li's strange stunt sparked conversation among the students. They figured the school administrators must be furious. You guys are awesome. One girl gazed at the sky filled with petals, her eyes full of adoration. Don't you think it's super romantic? Of course, my little sweetheart. The boy beside her saw his chance. Seeing how romantic it is, how about we? Hey! I haven't even agreed to go out with you yet. She pushed him away, making it clear she wasn't interested, but all over campus, more couples were kissing because they saw the beautiful petals flying. From above, the scene would look as if Ye Li and Gwen were leading the young men and women below on the tower. Bruce Banner and Betty Ross, on the verge of parting, were also caught up in the atmosphere. Betty moved closer to Bruce, wanting to kiss him goodbye, but Bruce reluctantly stopped. He worried his heart would race too fast. And the big guy would reappear. The couples below continued to make out. Ye Li pulled away from Gwen. Just kissing isn't enough, I want more, Gwen. Huh? Gwen blinked innocently, as if she were a clueless girl who didn't understand anything, except her own body. But Ye Li didn't need to spell it out. He expertly bent his knees and stood on tiptoe in his indigo suit. Even with the upgrades, the suit's color scheme was the same as before. The soles of the indigo suit were based on the original ballet shoes. After the big-headed father gets a kiss, it's the little-headed son's turn. Hey, look who's here. Ross has arrived. Thanks to Gwen's skills. Ye Li didn't need to do anything. 10. Seeing Ross's military vehicles ambushing Bruce in the distance, he couldn't help but feel playful. Strengthen the chicken talisman and protect things. Woo-woo. As Bruce left the university, he heard the roar of engines approaching. He turned to see several armed military vehicles. Run. Oops, it will take 3 minutes for the sniper to be in position. Ross asked over the comm, who acted without authorization. Sir, the vehicle is out of control. Dang dang, dang dang, dang dang, dang dang. Bruce ran for his life, but Ross's soldiers eventually cornered him in a corridor. He's blocked. Ross ordered, fire 2 tear gas canisters in. Clang, as the tear gas exploded, filling the corridor with white mist, Bruce's eyes began to turn green. Oh, here we go. Ye Li stopped enjoying the view and patted Gwen on the shoulder. Gwen, look over there. Gwen pouted and turned to look, then sputtered. What is that? A massive green monster head smashed through the corridor's glass window, letting out a thunderous roar. Roar. Ye Li watched the Hulk lay waste to everything and smiled at Gwen. Is that a new perspective for you? So that's what you meant. What kind of monster is that? Gwen wiped her mouth. Is it strong? Do you want me to take care of it? She figured that while scary, the monster was probably no worse than a lizard man. Don't worry. Ye Li stopped her. Look closer. Who are those soldiers? Gwen looked questioningly. That's General Ross. Her quick mind made the connection. He had that person inject the serum to fight this monster. He's not a monster, Gwen. Ye Li said directly, not holding back. He's Dr. Banner. No point in hiding it. Another doctor. Gwen didn't know anything about Banner, only having seen Bruce Banner's name on academic papers. Her biggest thought now was, why are these monsters transformed by doctors? Just like Dr. Connors. Experimenting is dangerous. It'll turn you green. Okay, Gwen, take pictures of this. Ye Li turned serious. Record the data. I bet S.H.I.E.L.D. would trade info for it. Dan would love this. Gwen nodded, tucking her shoulder-length blonde hair behind her ear as the suit had automatically reappeared. Then, she gave a command to the suit's AI, Ghost, start camera analysis. Activated. The lenses of the Ghost Spider suit began processing data. After a few moments, Bronchies could tangle with the newly transformed Hulk for a few rounds. Ye Li nodded, satisfied with his handiwork. Not bad. Keep in mind, artillery shells barely phased the Hulk. Being able to achieve this much was already very good, but Ye Li knew, Blankies wouldn't be satisfied. To read exciting novels, go to Faloo Novel Network. Next, the helicopter enraged the Hulk and was shot down, crashing into Betty as she arrived. In the fiery wreckage, Hulk protected Betty. The battle was over. Ye Li lost interest in watching the family drama. He glanced at the sky and left with Gwen. Boom. Thunder suddenly cracked, rain poured down. Time flies, time flies. Let's go. Back in New York, Gwen was still reeling from the trip. Where do you think that big guy will go next? Ye Li worked on his computer. We're in New York now. What? Gwen was changing clothes when she heard his answer. She asked in confusion, why? Why would he come here? Instead of replying, Ye Li turned his laptop to show her. The screen displayed some information. Mr. Lon, Dr. Samuel Stern, Grayburn College. Notify Jessica and the others. If a green monster appears on the streets, don't engage. Someone else will handle it. Okay. Gwen nodded blankly, still confused, seeing her rare, clueless look. Ye Li closed his laptop and walked over. Wait a minute. A few days later, New York City, Harlem, night. Roar. Howl. The Hulk and Abomination fought fiercely, roaring loudly. The brutal fight sent them careening from one end of the street to the other. On a nearby rooftop, Ye Li, dressed as the Black Spider, tilted his head and watched casually. Then, he decided against getting involved, and his figure gradually faded from view. He reappeared in Dr. Samuel Stern's lab. Mr. Blue, glass cabinets filled with Banner's blood samples surrounded him. A sizable collection. Ye Li waved his hand, the glass shattered, and bags of blood samples flew out, surrounding him. Regardless of whether he needed them, he'd take any advantage he could get. Well. Here, Stern was knocked to the ground by Bronster, his head bleeding. What a coincidence. Banner's blood dripped from a broken veil onto Stern's forehead. His head began to expand rapidly, and he seemed about to become a supervillain, but something was about to go down. As Stern's head mutated, he saw the black figure suddenly snatching the Banner blood. He grabbed the corner of Ye Li's windbreaker desperately. Mine. This is mine. Bang. Ye Li's casual kick ended the birth of a supervillain. Then, he vanished. All the blood samples were gone. The next day, Ghost Spider Club. Breaking news. Block 121, New York City. 2 unidentified green monsters cause widespread destruction. What's going on in New York? Peter looked at the news, stuffing popcorn into his mouth. There are monsters everywhere now. Ever since being attacked by Venom, he had been staying at the club, working odd jobs with Ned. After all, the lingering green scales on his face could only be explained by working with superhumans. Plus, Peter's brilliant scientific mind had proven useful to the club's research institutions. Tell me about it, Ned said, grabbing a handful of Peter's popcorn. Look at these supercriminals. What can the military do? We have to rely on the goddesses in our club. That's right. Long live Ghost Spider. Yeah. I bet Boss Jessica could defeat both those monsters with 3 punches. 3 punches. 1 punch. That's it. That the patrons at the bar raised their glasses in agreement. Hey, come on, stop bragging. Those 2 green guys look tough. What if the goddesses get hurt? Right. Better not to let the president and the others take the risk. This fan was more sensible. These days, the club was much livelier, filled with fan members. You talk too much. Mary Jane shook her glass, lecturing them. Gwen once taught me a Chinese saying, the tallest tree catches the most wind. Get it? Do you get it? Of course not, everyone here was just relaxing. None of them knew Chinese, so they went back to joking around. Mary Jane rolled her eyes. She picked up her wine glass and took a sip. Then she saw, Barbara was walking past her with a suitcase. Barbara? Mary Jane asked, surprised. Moving out again. Barbara had been having so much fun at the club that she moved in, on the condition that she sometimes work as Skye's assistant. No. Barbara shook her finger, flashing a ticket in front of Mary Jane. I'm going to Monaco. What? Mary Jane's eyes widened. You sly thing. Trying to meet with the vice president, that she knew Ye Li was going to Monaco, and she had even signed up for the race through her connections. The important thing was, Ye Li was alone. Neither Jessica nor Gwen were going. Mary Jane couldn't help but suspect Barbara's motives. Barbara scoffed. Can't I go on a trip by myself? Gotta catch my flight. That she had heard the news and wanted to seize the opportunity to get him alone and investigate Ye Li. But she wasn't about to admit it to Mary Jane. Hum. Barbara hummed a tune, heading east, towards the international airport. Tony, Lee, my private jet is about to take off. You going to Monaco alone? I'll go alone. No need to wait. Got something to deal with. Tony, okay. Monaco, see you there. Ye Li ended the call with Tony, looked at the researcher playing with Banner's blood, and asked, any progress? The researcher shook his head. Honestly, not for the time being, boss. Then store it for now. Yes. P.S. It's Monaco, not Morocco. Originally I wrote Monaco, and then I saw Morocco in the subtitle translation. After changing it to Morocco, I checked the information and found out that Monaco is the correct subtitle translation. Wrong, speechless. Chapter 77. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Rent. Ye Li, traveling light, felt a sense of freedom. He stepped outside, flagged down a taxi, and told the driver to head to the airport. Arriving at the airport, he spotted Barbara beaming and waving in his direction. What's with you? Ye Li, while going through security, gave Barbara a strange look. I didn't request an escort. Hey now, Mr. Vice President, that's not very nice. Barbara, clasping her hands in front of her, gave a playful little curtsy. Aren't you thrilled to have a beauty like me keeping you company? She is pretty, mister, the security lady chimed in with a smile, clearly shipping these 2 lovebirds. Well, it's your choice where you go. After finishing security, Ye Li tossed that line to the SHIELD agent and boarded the plane. Just as he was about to step into his cabin, Barbara leaned against the doorway of the cabin next to his and winked. What a coincidence, I'm right next door. Maybe you'll pop in for a chat. I'll be waiting. Damn, she even booked the cabin next door. Ye Li had to admit, Barbara was a knockout, with her blonde hair, blue eyes, cute face, slender arms, long legs, and fair skin. She looked like Gwen if she'd aged a few years, and her body was on point. He remembered she was a national gymnast back in the day, but Barbara was an agent, her motives had to be more than just friendly. Ye Li wasn't about to let her get her way that easily. He'd mess with her a little first, play a bit. Then, he spotted a flight attendant in the aisle and waved her over. Sir, the flight attendant approached with a professional smile. Is there something you need? Keep an eye on her. Ye Li nodded his thumb toward Barbara, who was still lounging against the doorframe, flashing her flirtiest look. Don't let her bother me, okay? Barbara's smile faltered. The flight attendant looked taken aback. After glancing at Barbara, she replied in a practiced tone, Don't worry, sir. We'll do everything we can to ensure the comfort of all our passengers. Then, in a hushed voice she thought only Ye Li could hear, she added, If you need anything, I can contact security for you, or you can call the police. As a woman, she figured a handsome guy like this probably got hit on all the time. Barbara's eyes narrowed. Am I really coming across that badly? Thanks to her professional training, her hearing was sharper than most, so she caught every word the flight attendant whispered to Ye Li. Ye Li nodded, pleased. He turned and winked at Barbara with a smile. Have a good flight, ma'am. It's a long one. He turned to head into his cabin. The flight attendant offered him a glass of iced tea on a tray. Sir, a welcome drink. Oh, thank you, Ye Li said, accepting it politely. Ma'am, this is for you. The flight attendant handed Barbara a glass with a smile. Let me know if you need anything. Oh, sure. Barbara, looking a bit deflated, took the cup. Hey, Yi, a voice called out, full of surprise. Strange, holding a cup, walked toward them excitedly. I didn't expect to see you here. What are the odds? Barbara couldn't help rolling her eyes. That's exactly what I said a minute ago. Stephen, Ye Li laughed. Fancy seeing you here. Come on, let's toast. He held out his cup and clinked it against Strange's. Strange said, downing the rest of his iced tea and placing the cup back on the flight attendant's tray. Where are you headed? This is the flight to Monaco. Ye Li clicked his tongue. Yep, racing. Ha. Me too. Strange invited him over. Why don't you come sit with me? He shot a glance at Barbara and lowered his voice. Do you know her? Ye Li also glanced at Barbara, noting the slight resentment in her eyes, but nothing too serious. Yeah, I know her. Good taste. Strange clapped him on the shoulder. Alright, come on over. Ye Li placed his unfinished iced tea back on the tray and waved to Barbara. Come on, if you want. Barbara perked up and stepped forward, latching onto his arm. After the three of them walked away, the flight attendant stood there, confused. Didn't he just say he didn't want to be bothered? Why is she all over him now? Probably just a lover's spat. Guess there's no chance for a romantic encounter for me. The flight attendant, who thought Ye Li was traveling solo, walked away, disappointed. Thanks, Barbara said, squeezing Ye Li's arm tightly with a playful cunningness. This is a reward. She was really satisfied with Ye Li's looks and talent, and didn't mind giving him a little something for performing the mission. Ye Li, thank you for what? Thank you for saving face for me. Barbara smiled brightly, flashed her teeth a little, and praised, you are very graceful. Oh, Ye Li rubbed her small waist. Through the soft fabric, you can feel the smooth and elastic skin. Speaking of which, you have been at the club for a long time and have helped Skye a lot. I haven't talked to you much yet. The vice president is too busy. Barbara took the opportunity to say, why don't you go to my box to chat later? Or I can go to your box. Here we are. At this time, Stephen in front opened the door of his box, turned back and smiled at Ye Li. It's not that far from your place, is it? After the three of them sat in, Steve started chatting with Ye Li, mostly about racing and social topics. Barbara chimed in from time to time, and occasionally gave Ye Li some benefits. Ye Li he also felt that her hands felt great and it was a pleasure, when he was chatting. He liked to sit next to someone who could sit on his hands, which is why he asked Barbara to come over. This is a hobby, not necessarily what he wants to do, similar to how some people like to hold hands. Play with some jade pieces like walnuts. Tony Stark. Stephen talked about Stark, he also wants to participate. It's a rich man's game, isn't it? Ye Li, but he asked me to keep it a secret for him and not to tell Miss Pepper. Steven, when we meet, don't let anything slip. Do not worry. Strange, you know, I don't like talking to people I don't know well. And you, Barbara? Ye Li told Barbara on his hand, don't move too, cough, Freeze said. Barbara's face was rosy, she nodded and agreed, I see, but not here. What? Steven's eyes were strange, and he saw that the two people opposite him, something is wrong. Based on his medical knowledge, this beautiful lady, capillary congestion, slightly short of breath, subcutaneous muscle twitching. Yi, are you so good at playing now? Ye Li raised his hands, I think I can explain, Steven. Boom. It's getting late, Yi, I wish you all a pleasant night. In the end, the two of them were sent out by Steven. Where to next? Barbara brushed her lower body with her palms, straightened the hem of her off-white skirt, and regained her smile from the embarrassment of being sent away. Do you want to go to my place to play? Girl, didn't hear what Steven said, isn't it getting early? What can we play when it's almost late? Although I think so, but after Yi Li hesitated for a moment, he still said, this might be a good idea. Sex, interest has been aroused, might as well go take a look, although he didn't think Barbara would devote herself to her career, judging from her performance just now, a certain level of fun is still okay, with good guidance, S.H.I.E.L.D. might be able to lose both his wife and his troops, chew on a tough nut like a female agent, it's also an interesting challenge, Barbara's box. Vice President. Barbara gave a sweet cry, to read Baoshuang novels, go to Faloo Novel Network. Yi Li corrected, Li. After getting closer to Yi Li, Barbara said happily, I see you didn't bring any luggage. Did you forget it? I can lend you mine. What do you want to lend me? Yi Li noticed that she seemed to have some intention. The first-class cabin was very complete, including toothbrushes and towels. What can I borrow? Wait a moment. Barbara smiled mysteriously, reached into her suitcase, and took out something. She still remembered the last time she asked Skye about Yi Li's hobbies. Draw beauties, fighting skills, and do oral cleaning. Wait, after subsequent investigation, these are all traceable, the credibility is very high, fighting skills cannot be practiced in a small box on an airplane, then it can only be. Tada! Barbara took out the painting tools and paper and handed them to Yi Li. Here you go. Yi Li's face was blank, I'm trying to get away and have some fun, and you want me to work, that's cold, Hey, why aren't you smiling? Barbara took off her coat and hung it up. Then, she struck a pose on the cushions in the cabin. Don't just stand there, get to it. Yi Li was too lazy to overthink things and decided to go straight to the point. He reached down to unbuckle his belt. Okay, I'm on it. Whoa. Barbara stopped him in a hurry. What are you doing? Didn't you say get to it? No. Barbara feigned panic and clutched her clothes. I heard you like to draw beautiful women, that's all I meant. She gestured to the art supplies in front of Yi Li. Didn't you figure that out? You dress all fancy and expect me to give you free art, Yi Li replied sternly, I'm not interested. Barbara was taken aback, but she noticed Yi Li's gaze lingering on certain parts of her body. She quickly understood. Barbara rummaged through her suitcase again, found 2 pairs of delicate white stockings, and put them on a few seconds later. How's this? She straightened her slender legs encased in white silk, exuding confidence. Hot enough for you, I'm so easy to read, Barbara felt smug. Yi Li tilted his head, paintbrush in hand, and said flatly, too much clothing. Take it off. Barbara. That's all I've got, if I take it off again, there'll be nothing left, she wrestled with the decision for a moment. Finally, she grit her teeth, snow-white ketone body display. At the same time, Barbara shouted in her heart, Hill. I have sacrificed too much for my mission. I need a promotion and a salary increase. The painting is done. Yi Li handed Barbara several portraits he had drawn, that's right, several, 227 in various poses. The security lady was right, you are beautiful. Barbara. She was looking kind of dazed now, hearing Yi Li's praise. She snapped back to reality. She accepted the drawing she'd sacrificed so much for. After a quick glance, she was hooked. They were beautiful. But, so revealing, such gorgeous art, she couldn't bring herself to ruin them, but if she added a few strokes herself, she'd ruin them too. Barbara begged, "Can you change them? Make them less, revealing. Please. Not so fast." Seeing her alluring state up close, Yi Li seized the opportunity, pulled her into his arms, and went on the offensive. A little while later, beyond the final line of defense, Barbara was already killed and her armor was removed. Woo woo woo. The beauty is sobbing, seeing myself in this embarrassing state now. I have the heart to want to die. Why so confusedly? That's all. Leave it all to this man. If it's just for the mission, it's impossible to do this. What Barbara didn't know was that under the influence of Yi Li's charm and strong offensive, she actually had a crush on him. After all, agents can fall in love. It's just that she didn't notice it, and thought it was a psychological comfort for the task, but in fact there was no need to do this at all. Never mind, we've come to this point, risk it all. Barbara remembered Yi Li's more private hobby and put her pretty face close to his and whispered for a while. Yi Li nodded happily. "Okay, but I want to test your level of business first on the glass porthole of the box." Two faint figures put their heads close to each other, then, kissed together. After the test, Barbara went about her business unfamiliarly. "If we only talk about the level of this business, this is what Yi Li said. Point 1. Gwen. Point 2, Felicia. Point 3. Skye. Point 4, Jessica. There is not much difference, each has its own skills." He made this ranking based on his experience in some small details. And Cindy, haven't expanded this business yet. Kate Mara was not included. As for Barbara, still need more practice. Chapter 78. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Dinner and your wine order, ma'am. Yi Li heard the voice outside and his spidey sense went wild. Whoosh. Whoosh. Whoosh, like flipping through pages in a cartoon. He double-checked that it was just one flight attendant outside, no cameras pointing at the door. Using his telekinesis, he unlocked the door. "Come on in. It's open." "Open? Huh. That's a man's voice. Didn't a woman reserve this box?" The flight attendant reached for the handle, then squeaked, "Ah." As someone came in, Barbara, lifting her messy blonde hair, looked groggily toward the door, her charm still working even half asleep. Seeing it was just a flight attendant, she lost interest. Ugh, this again. Still, damn, that woman was pretty. The flight attendant composed herself and set the food on the table. "Enjoy your meal." "Thanks," Yi Li said with a smile. "Take the door with you on the way out." "Okay." The flight attendant left, a little flustered. Phew. Barbara finally got over her buzz. Looking around with a confused expression, she glanced out the window. Stars peppered the sky, a big, bright moon hung high, and wisps of clouds blurred past. The plane sped through the darkness. Turning back to Yi Li, she grumbled, "Hey, you're really kicking back, huh?" She plopped down next to him, spotted the dancing girl on his phone, and got instantly annoyed. You're checking out another woman. Hey, relax." Yi Li pulled her close and covered her with a blanket. Perfect timing for a romantic dinner. 1 Yang. 2 what? Barbara knew a little Chinese, but that particular word eluded her. She eyed the spread in front of her, a feast of tempting aromas, but she still pouted. "It's all your fault." "How am I supposed to eat now?" Yi Li cut off a chunk of lamb and popped it in his mouth. "You brought it on yourself." Barbara, seeing him take advantage of her, bristled. "Stars, moonlight, gourmet dinner, and me, a beautiful woman, right here. It's like you won the lottery." "You're definitely the first woman I've met who calls herself beautiful, but hey, confidence is key." Yi Li grabbed a bottle of wine and offered it to her. "Here, let's kill the scent first. It'll help, trust me. I'm practically an expert at dealing with this kind of stuff." Glug glug. Barbara drained a glass of wine, then stopped short. "Wait. You're not trying to get me drunk so you can do something, are you? Almost walked right into that one. Good thing her spy training kicked in. Otherwise, she'd be in trouble. Even if she'd done a lot of bad things, she still considered herself a girl, not a woman. That was her last line in the sand. Eat up. Ye Li smiled gently, reached out, and wiped a drop of wine from her lips with his thumb. We'll be in Monaco before you know it. Get some sleep. Huh? Barbara recoiled slightly, her face flushing at his sudden tenderness. You're such a bad boy. A few hours later, tap tap, Strange knocked lightly on Ye Li's door. Yi, almost there. Probably best if you're awake for landing. Click, the door next to him popped open, Ye Li stuck his head out, toothbrush in his mouth, a wad of foam on his lips. Steven, good morning. Strange blinked, not entirely surprised. He smirked and said, Monaco time, so not morning. Ms. Barbara got you all flustered. Flustered? More like she had me on edge. Ye Li yelled inside, Barbara, you ready? Landing soon. Been ready. Just waiting on you. Barbara opened the door, grabbed her suitcase, and headed out. I'll get off and wait for you guys. Strange watched her go, surprised. Wow, she seems like a different person from yesterday. Barbara had seemed so mature, but now she wore a bouncy blonde ponytail and vibrant athletic clothes. Women. Gotta love, right? Ye Li finished up, grinned, and said, let's get going. La la la, Barbara had her arms slung over the suitcase trolley, humming to herself. She leaned on the trolley for balance, her posture unusually playful, her beauty caught plenty of eyes as hurried travelers did double takes. Soon, Ye Li and Strange joined her, and the three of them together formed a nucleus of attention. Ye Li fidgeted, feeling conspicuous. You guys book a car, Barbara took his hand. I want a ride in yours, Strange nodded. Mine's waiting. You wanna head straight to Stark? Nah, let's play a bit. Ye Li pulled out his phone and searched. I think there's a casino here. Barbara raised her eyebrows. You wanna gamble? She thought of the vice president, supposedly unbeatable at the club, Monte Carlo casino star. Gotta get some luck. Stark grabbed the hand holding the dice and offered it to a girl, who blew on them daintily. Okay, good enough. Hope you can bring me some good luck. Tony was about to roll his lucky dice when, wham, a ruckus erupted at the next table, making him pause. Thought this place was supposed to be classy. The girl beside him muttered in French, it's the new Duduju. He's cleaned out half the casino. Duduju. God of games. That's what they're calling him, Mr. Stark. Well, let's meet this god of games. Intrigued, Tony leaned over for a better look and saw, his eyes bugged out. Isn't that Li? Hey, Li. You sneaky devil. Tony tossed the dice aside and ambled over. You didn't even say you were coming. Trying to surprise me? I mean, it's a coincidence, but not that surprising you're here. Ye Li glanced at the dice. Your luck's running bad. Heads up, Tony. Point 2 dice, 2 pips. Well, can't get much worse. Tony didn't even look at the dice. Instead, he thought about his palladium poisoning, but he said nonchalantly, but, it's time to have fun, right? He noticed the mountain of chips in Barbara's arms. Looks like someone's having a good night. Ye Li pinched his fingers. A little. Then he introduced Strange and Barbara. Stephen Strange, the genius surgeon you might want to ask about if you ever want to take the shrapnel out of your chest. Strange gave Stark a slight nod. You're Ye's friend. I'll do what I can. Thanks, I've heard your name. Tony swapped cards with Strange. Might take you up on that, eventually. He trailed off. If he didn't fix the palladium poisoning, whether he removed the shrapnel, didn't matter, those tiny bits were nearly impossible to get out surgically anyway, too much risk. One mistake, and he'd lose everything. better to ride the reactor, be Iron Man a little longer, and go down in flames. That was Tony's plan. To read exciting novels, go to Faloo Novel Network. Ye Li introduced Barbara. Barbara Morse, ex-gymnast, works for the Ghost Spider Club. Works, right? That he didn't know if Barbara was really working at the club. Based on what Skye and the others said, she seemed to spend most of her time just playing. Totally working, Barbara affirmed with a formal smile, nodding to Stark. Hello, Mr. Stark. She's definitely got it, Tony whispered to Ye Li. Thought your type was, like, 18 and under. There's that again, Ye Li waved it off. I'm just saying, Gwen and the others are graduating soon. Out of your range. So what? Tony shrugged. Moving up to college girls, Ye Li just rolled his eyes, pointed to the poker table, and changed the subject. Come on, Tony. You know this stuff better than me. Teach me how to play. What? Thought you were supposed to be a god of gambling. What could I teach you? Tony reluctantly showed him the ropes, and then, realized. He really didn't seem to know what he was doing. But somehow he still won every hand, raking in stacks of chips. Li, if I didn't know better, Tony said, dumbfounded, I'd swear you were cheating. Ye Li couldn't exactly deny it, he didn't even need his telekinesis. His spidey sense could mop the floor with everyone. Passive ability, not cheating, he'd won a fortune. Ye Li decided to call it a night. Gambling was fine for fun, but relying on it to make money felt lame. Besides, he had better things to do with his time now. Money came to him, not the other way around. Time flew, the race party was about to start. Tony led Ye Li and the others to the pre-race gala. Ye Li saw Natasha, Barbara spotted her too. The two S.H.I.E.L.D. agents traded glances. Natasha sauntered over, acting like they were best buds. Seeing his new assistant chat up Ye Li's friend, Tony chuckled. Looks like they're hitting it off. Just then, a photographer approached with a camera. Gentlemen, may I take your picture? Tony, sure thing. Maybe they have stuff in common. Ye Li gave the camera a winning smile while saying to Tony, there they went, you and Miss Pepper, I don't have a female companion anymore. What about me? A smooth voice purred. Christine swept over, glass of wine in hand, and greeted Stark. Mr. Stark. Tony frowned. The girl looked familiar. Who is she? Can't place her. Vanity Fair reporter. You gave her that private interview. Then, after answering Tony, Ye Li smiled politely at Christina. Hello, Miss Christine, we meet again here. Christina beamed, flashing 2 rows of perfect teeth. Great to see you again, but I'm with Glory World now. Ye Li glanced her over. Maybe his standards were too high, but she seemed different. Faded, somehow. Europeans aged so fast. Luckily, Gwen and the girls were immune to that. Gwen, Jessica, Skye, Felicia, Cindy, none of them had normal human bodies, and Ye Li had a souped-up version of the dog talisman, *enhanced dog talisman ability, immortality, eternal youth, star. This life force could be given and shared. That's right, her. How exactly did he share it? A little complicated. Like, did Barbara have it? Only if he could talk her into ditching S.H.I.E.L.D. and joining the side of the Angels. Then he might consider sharing the Fountain of Youth. And because Ye Li was the sole master of the upgraded 12 talismans, he could always take back the power if he wanted. Tony. Is that you? Ye Li's thoughts drifted away. Another guy elbowed his way in, champagne flute in hand. It was Justin Hammer, trying to buddy up to Stark with a smile that didn't quite reach his eyes. Hammer's attitude shifted. He was still polite, but now there was a hint of condescension, a casualness, in his mind. What power did a painter have? He wasn't fit to stand next to him and Stark. Ye Li was about to ignore the clown when his spidey sense tingled. He could practically read the guy's thoughts. Seeing Hammer butt in, Christina took Ye Li's arm and said, if Mr. Hammer wants to talk to Mr. Stark, then why don't we go over there and have a chat? Wait, Christine. Hammer stopped Christina and said with an unhappy expression, aren't you going to give me an exclusive interview? We'll talk later, Mr. Hammer. Christina politely pulled her hand away. You talk to Mr. Stark first. Watching Christina and Ye Li walk off, Hammer nearly blew a gasket. He was trying to bask in Stark's reflected glory. An interview with a top reporter would have done wonders. What a waste of time talking to Stark. Meanwhile, finding Hammer's sour face amusing, Ye Li let Christina lead him away, but then, Christina steered him down a quiet hallway and pinned him against a wall. Ye. Christina got close, her heels pushing up, her legs hooking around his. Why didn't you call? That he could feel her body pressed against his. Ye Li sighed. So hard being so handsome. Beauty, seeing as how you just pissed off that clown of Hammer, I advise you to let go right away. Of course, Christina couldn't hear his inner thoughts. She nuzzled his neck, wanting a soft, moist touch, her hands drifting lower, but, just as Christina's lips and hands were about to reach their destination, a white hand grabbed her wrist and stopped her short. Lady. Barbara, suddenly feeling like a romantic hero, pulled Christina away and chuckled. That's not very nice to a gentleman. Chapter 79. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Who is she? Christina could feel the raw power in Barbara's toned arms, a force she couldn't possibly resist. Your bodyguard? She guessed. Bodyguard. Barbara rolled her eyes, a decision forming in her mind. She spun around, gracefully stepping in front of Ye Li. She chuckled, that's right. I'm Li's personal bodyguard. Christina turned to Ye Li, seeking confirmation. Really? Ye Li blinked, yes. No. That's right. Barbara maintained her smile, subtly reaching behind her to grab Ye Li's hand, and placing it on his erection. Someone's hand happily started kneading, and a smile crept across his face. Ah, yes. Barbara is my personal bodyguard, a very personal bodyguard. I see. Christina studied Barbara's demeanor. She picked up on the hidden meaning in Ye Li's words. Still, she felt she had a chance, and she suggested to Barbara, then we can all be together, Miss Barbara. There's really no need for this. Barbara thought, don't act innocent. See you next time, ma'am. Barbara grabbed Ye Li and left, leaving Christina in stunned silence. Hey! Wait! The female reporter, abandoning all professional composure, had no choice but to chase after them. Another failed attempt. She walked away, defeated. Meanwhile, Barbara, having usurped Christina's position, snuggled into Ye Li's arms, doing what she hadn't dared before. Don't. Barbara squirmed, shaking her head, trying to escape his grasp. She had just told Natasha to come to the room to talk. If this happened to happen. But, Ye Li didn't care. He held her head in place, guiding her seductive red lips closer. Later, when Natasha arrived to discuss the mission with her colleague, she was shocked to find Ye Li and Barbara. Ugh. Phew, Natasha. You're here. Barbara awkwardly pushed Ye Li away and quickly said goodbye to him. That's it. Natasha and I are going for a walk. In the banquet hall, on a balcony adorned with crystals, two beautiful figures leaned against the marble railing. A gentle breeze occasionally tousled their long golden and auburn hair. Barbara. After a moment of silence, Natasha broke the quiet. You. Is that why 067 requested intel? Ahem. Barbara, still feeling flustered, coughed a few times, and awkwardly said, didn't you always say, beauty is a weapon? But, not like that. Natasha was at a loss for words. To do that for a mission. That's a bad deal for you. She remembered Barbara as a skilled agent. Why couldn't she see the line here? I don't know either. Barbara gazed at the racetrack. It just didn't feel repulsive. I just did it. It wouldn't work with anyone else, only him. There's something wrong with you, Natasha thought. This clearly wasn't just a task for Barbara. But she didn't want to get involved in a situation that wasn't her responsibility, so she kept quiet. Virum asterisk. Virum. Natasha glanced at the track. The race has started. Barbara saw Ye Li change into a sleek racing suit and climb into the car next to Strange. She also saw Ms. Potts desperately trying to stop Mr. Stark from racing. Tony started the engine. "You ready, guys?" Ye Li smiled mysteriously. "Ready." A rat pattern charm appeared in his hand, and he pressed it against the inside of the car. Strange eyed his green car, then looked at Ye Li and said, "Yi, I like your red car better. Wanna switch? Get lost." 3.2.1. Whoosh asterisk. Whoosh. Whoosh. Ye Li and the other two, along with the other racers, blasted onto the track, covering a huge distance in an instant. "Maybe I won't win, but I'll definitely be faster than you." Stark yelled at Ye Li and Strange over the comms, then sped ahead. "Ha! Ye Li, yeah, Tony, you're the fastest man." "Strange, the doctor suggested that being too fast isn't a good thing." "Shut up, you two bastards." Tony saw Strange sticking close and Ye Li lagging behind, so he taunted, "Li, need us to wait up, well. I was hoping to blend in and be normal." Ye Li patted the car under his seat. "Alright, time for you to shine." Wooin, Eve, bang. The red number 7 car suddenly surged forward. The commentator exclaimed, "It's passing car number 8 and number 3. Car number 6, car number 1. Now it's third, no. Second place." Ye Li smirked, and another rabbit pattern charm appeared in his hand, which he pressed against the inner wall of the car. Of course, he wouldn't use more than normal speed, just a little bit was enough. Wooin. My God! It's overtaken the number 11 car of desperate driver Savito, who was in the lead. That angle. How did he do that? That's insane. Oh my gosh. Is he trying to kill himself? Turns out you can drive a car like that. I feel like I've been driving toy cars my whole life. Holy crap. He's so badass. The audience erupted. Cheers and screams filled the air. Go. Number 7. Who is that number 7 driver? What racing team is he with? I want to sign him. It's the Ghost Spider Club. Already found out so fast. Nice work. Oh no, he's the one who opened that string of letters on the track. What? Hey. Li. Are you nuts? Driving like that? No pro driver would do that. Slow down. Tony thought, is this guy terminal or something? He secretly wondered if the palladium poisoning had made him too reckless to be playing like this. Had Li suddenly been triggered? Strange had the same idea and chimed in over the comms, "Hey, hey, hey. Yi. Calm down. If you've got some incurable disease, I can recommend you to the best doctor in the world. A psychiatrist works too, okay? Car number 7. Wait, isn't that?" Barbara instinctively gripped the railing tighter. Him. Natasha, seeing the worry on her face, shook her head. Strange, is it a brain thing? Stark, I think it might be AIDS. Tony, believe it or not, I'll turn around and send you flying off the track. Ye Li, speechless at the thoughts of his 2 idiot friends, left them with one last message, "I'll see you at the finish line." He cut off the communication and sped straight ahead. Hey! Who's that person? Pit crew, get off the track. With a toothpick dangling from his mouth, Ivan Vanko strolled onto the center of the track, ignoring the speeding cars and the warnings. Electric sparks flared on his clothes, revealing the activated whiplash suit underneath. As he dragged a pair of blazing white and blue electric whips along the ground, Ye Li was freeing his hands. Suddenly, his super spider sense flared, showing him a vision of Steven being whipped by the electric lash. Steven's about to get whiplashed. Ye Li instinctively used the Rooster Talisman's telekinesis ability to cover the entire track, hoping to use it to save this troublesome friend. Then, it suddenly occurred to him that Strange had supposedly become the Sorcerer Supreme just after a car accident. Was this that moment? But before he could fully process the thought, the world began to turn upside down, and the surrounding tracks twisted into irrational shapes, like something out of a surrealist painting. Stop! Ye Li instructed the car. With a screech and a skid, the car halted, the door opened, not this time. A black trench coat emerged first. Ye Li, dressed in a black battle suit, hands in the pockets of the trench coat, leaned against the car door, calmly surveying the scene. The distorted, shifting world was no longer deserted or silent, and the auditorium hanging upside down in the sky was empty. Ancient One. Suddenly, as Ye Li spoke the name, a figure in yellow robes gently landed a few feet in front of him. "Hello, Li." The Ancient One said in a clear voice. Strange is a conceited child, he still needs to be tested. Mage. Ye Li tossed a charm bearing a double tiger pattern into his hand. Isn't this a little too intimate for a first meeting? The Ancient One knew that this mirror dimension couldn't hold Ye Li, so she awkwardly offered one word: thank you. Leave that Steven guy alone. Ye Li said, pulling up the hood of his trench coat. Don't you think we look like a couple right now? The Ancient One smiled serenely, unfazed. Interesting child. We'll meet again. Okay, see you later, Ancient One. The double tiger pattern on the charm in Ye Li's hand began to spin. I have no idea what happened to Steven. I need to go see him. With each rotation of the tiger talisman, the distorted world was brought back into alignment. The enhanced version of the tiger talisman anchors the two poles of yin and yang. To be precise, the tiger talisman controls the power of yin and yang and can achieve many effects. This is just one of them. The mirror dimension quickly shattered into fragments. As the space was ripped apart, a red race car burst out again. Woo. Phew. Star. Hi, Pepper. Here, Pepper and Happy were setting up to deliver equipment to Stark when they saw a red race car parked next to them. Pepper, Li. Shouldn't you be up front? Ye Li gestured. You guessed it. I was leading by a couple laps. Li. Help me. Knock him away. Tony, being chased and battered by Ivan Vanko, saw Ye exit the car and rush toward them, and desperately called for help. Hey. Tony. As Ye Li drove past Stark, he threw the Stark suit briefcase over. Miss Pepper sent it over for you. Enjoy, thud. Star. Oh crap, Tony screamed. The impact of the briefcase made him dizzy. He was glad it didn't knock him out. The racing car didn't stop, it crashed straight into Ivan Vanko. Ivan Vanko raised his whip and tried to do it again, but the red car suddenly accelerated again, leaving Sangbien, Ivan Vanko, with no time to react. Boom, boom, star. The morning whip was hit directly and hit the runway fence, making a muffled sound. Oh, sorry. I didn't do it on purpose, I just stepped on the accelerator a little too hard. Ye Li looked at Ivan Vanko, who looked like he was about to croak, and said, I don't think it's my fault. You should probably equip yourself with some armor. With Ivan Vanko's almost unprotected morning whip equipment, a small pistol could probably take him down. Li. Get out of the way. He's not dead yet. I'll deal with him. Tony, who had been so rattled by Ye Li that he was seeing stars, somehow managed to put on the portable Mark suit while stumbling. He was walking this way, but it seemed that he was going to fall down next step. Ye Li, releasing the spirit from the racing car, opened the car door and walked further away, crossed his arms and said, Tony, you got this. There were many people watching the show like him. Spectators ran outside the fence to watch the impending battle at close range, because they also discovered that although Ivan Vanko's electric whip is so powerful that it can split a vehicle with just one whip, there is nothing eye-catching about it other than that, as long as you stay outside the range of the whip and run faster, you can kill him with a rifle. You have the nerve to say it, it's not you who did it. Bang! Just as Tony was about to say something, the red racing car was split open by the whip of the awakened Ivan Vanko. Tacker. Ivan Vanko roared and rushed towards Stark. One whip. 2 whips. 3 whips. 4 whips. Lightning. 5 consecutive whips. Iron Man's head was full of dizziness. Who can be the opponent of Death Whip at this time? Stark was beaten to the point where he could not take care of himself, and his steel suit was full of sparks and sparks. Ye Li shouted at the right time, "You okay, Tony, asterisk damn it, Star." Tony was so angry that he punched Ivan Vanko on the head. The portable Mark suit is not that powerful, asterisk jump asterisk. Ivan Vanko, who had zero defense, was directly hit by the same stun debuff as Tony. Tony took the opportunity to pop out a ray of light on the forearm of the suit. It was the imitation lightsaber module he had loaded into his suit. Glowing weapons, but you're not the only one who has it. Click, 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 that with a few blows from the energy light blade, Ivan Vanko's morning whip suit was torn apart and scattered on the ground. Stark couldn't hold on any longer and fell down. What? You ask him why he can't hold on anymore. The head of the steel suit opens, Stark's angular head is revealed. Alas, this gangster is so brutal. Ye Li looked at the wound and shook his head. Look at Tony, this end, they were all bleeding. Why? Pepper arrived and asked Tony worriedly, "Were you injured?" "Well." Tony stretched out his hand tremblingly, pointing his index finger at Ye Li, wanting to say something. "Don't worry, Tony, I know what you mean." Ye Li nodded and gave him a thumbs up. "I'll also go see Steven, don't worry." Ugh. Tony tilted his head and fainted from anger, asterisk dee-dee-dee-dee-dee-dee-doo, star, with the sound of an ambulance arriving, both Stark and Strange were put on stretchers and taken to the hospital. Chapter 80. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Time flies, hospital. Ye Li peeled an apple with a fruit knife, Stark's on the left, Strange on the right. At least they have company, being stuck in the same ward. Stark just has a mild concussion, he'll be fine after some rest, but Pepper chewed him out for the palladium poisoning they detected, and Strange? He's a total mess, his hands are completely shot, now he's whining and filled with regret, while cursing the guy with the whip, that lowlife. I'm suing. He'll rot in jail. Tony was about to bust Ye Li's chops about cheating, but seeing Steven so down, he decided to lay off and try to comfort him. Misery loves company, I guess. You gotta look on the bright side. Ye Li finished peeling the apple, then held the skin out to them. Skin, anyone? Get lost. X 2.2 voices, full of grief and rage. Nurse. Where's the nurse? Get this guy outta here, asterisk crunch star. Ye Li munched on his apple, listening to the flood of messages on his phone. Jessica, dude. I saw the news, Gwen, Li, there was a terrorist attack at the Monaco F1 race. Are you okay, Felicia, master, need me to come take care of you, Skye, checked it out. The attacker's name is Ivan Vanko. Cindy, I saw you carving letters into the track. So cool. Hold on, Tony, seeing Ye Li sitting there, calmly chomping on an apple while all these messages popped up, lost it. Are you kidding me? We're the ones who are hurt. Gimme that. Gimme. Relax, Tony, have this. Ye Li grabbed a banana and shoved it in his mouth. Hey. At least peel it first. Stark spat out the banana. I'm a patient. Be gentle, would ya? Stop being such a drama queen, Tony. Ye Li looked at Steven, who was still moping in the bed on the right. He handed him a rolled-up parchment map. Don't get discouraged, Steven. A lady gave me this. A lady? Stark, always on the lookout, jumped in. So, while we're laid up, you're hooking up with babes. I hope so. Ye Li went on, but she wanted me to give it to Steven. What is this? Steven tried to open the map with his mouth, but couldn't manage it. Wards. Here, let me help. Ye Li reached over and unfolded the map for him. A location in Nepal was circled. Steven was confused. What's this supposed to mean? That he hasn't gone to seek medical treatment for his hands yet, so he's not particularly desperate. Magic, Steven. Ye Li advised, when you've exhausted every other option, give it a shot. But remember, don't come crying to me later. You're on your own. Strange. He was even more perplexed. Hey, Li, I got something for you, too. No questions, just take it. Tony pulled out 2 checks and handed them to Ye Li. Give the other one to Black Spider for me, heard you got a connection. Ye Li took the checks, noting the string of zeros. Wow, 2 checks. Looks like Mr. Stark's thinking about leaving me an inheritance. Alright, Tony. I didn't want to get involved. But you're so lazy, it's driving me nuts. Ye Li pocketed the checks and said, listen up, and don't interrupt, the new element you need to solve your palladium poisoning is in the city model your father left behind. Don't ask me how I know. You can get the info from S.H.I.E.L.D. It was just a matter of spilling it, seeing these two were so miserable, he just blurted it out. New element. Tony's shock grew with each word. How do you know this? Ye Li brushed it off. Cindy's spider sense is super strong. She gets flashes of the future. Spider Silk Cindy Moon. Tony wrote another check on the spot, handing it to him with a serious look. Give this to that girl. Thank her for me. Leaving the ward, Ye Li looked down at the 3 extra checks in his pocket, silent, money just keeps chasing me. After a pause. Help. Help me. No. No, the women were screaming as they were shoved into shipping containers by a bunch of thugs. Shut your traps. Each of you is worth $1,000. A leader of a gang held a bucket in his hand and threatened several women, so, you shut up, and you'll get a bucket. You don't, Anne. He flicked the switch on the cattle prod in his other hand, the blue sparks making his threat crystal clear. Eh. Ah, the women screamed again, so they got a shock to their bodies. No, please. Don't, I beg you. Scream all you want. The gangster spread his arms, sneering at the women sprawled on the cargo boxes. Go ahead, scream your lungs out. It's fine. Nobody here cares. The gang leader didn't notice the figure crouching silently on the cargo box behind him, clad in dark red. Aha, asterisk bang, star, Daredevil leaped down and slammed his fist into the gangster's chin, kicking off a brawl between him and the rest of the goons. Gunshots rang out occasionally, but Daredevil's senses rendered them useless. These thugs were no match for a superhero. Off to the side, Ye Li sat on a cargo container, watching the beatdown without lifting a finger, hanging out in Hell's Kitchen, watching Gwen and the others fight crime. It's a new form of entertainment he'd been working on lately, like watching a live-action movie, but he just happened to run into Daredevil, so he decided to watch for a bit. The Night Spider suit's information-isolating abilities also kept Murdoch from sensing him. Matt's performance was alright. Ye Li, bored, looked for something else to do. He switched to a news channel and watched yesterday's news. Unidentified object crashes in New Mexico, according to eyewitness reports. It appears to be a hammer. Today's news. Hammer Industries showcases Iron Soldiers at Stark Expo, lost control for unknown reasons. Engaged in a fierce battle with Iron Man Tony Stark. Tomorrow's news. Beep, a phone call. The suit's system had built-in call connectivity, so Ye Li answered. Hello. Li. It was Cindy. That sweet, familiar voice came through the phone. Why did you suddenly give me so much money? Are you trying to be my sugar daddy? Ye Li said, ah. Originally, that money had nothing to do with you, but now, it kinda does. Cindy said, oh I see. But I can't use this much money. I should probably give it back. Ye Li spoke, keep it. You holding it is pretty much the same as me holding it. Really. Cindy was thrilled to hear Ye Li's words, and talked on the phone with him for a while. They ended the call, *buzz star. Spider sense. Ye Li smoothly flipped his coat and floated backward. An exploding grenade landed where he'd just been, *boom, *ta-ta-ta-ta-ta. At the same time, artillery and machine gun fire rained down from the sky. But the target wasn't him. Ye Li glanced up to see Iron Man Stark leading the way, War Machine Rhodes hot on his tail, seemingly under someone else's control. Several steel soldier robots followed behind. The grenade had been a stray shot from one of the robots. Ye Li shifted gears, tore down the stray robot, and used Dragon Explosion, turning it into a pile of ash. TSK, they came all the way from the Flushing Expo and almost hit me. After offing the wayward fighter, he didn't get involved further. By the time Daredevil noticed the commotion, he'd vanished into the night. Iron Man lured the enemy behind him, turned around and headed back towards the expo. Rhodes, Tony. Good news. Tony, what other good news could there be? Did your suit get unlocked? I doubt it. Otherwise you wouldn't be chasing me right now. Rhodes, yeah, I'm still chasing you to teach you a lesson, but one of the steel soldiers suddenly dropped. Tony said disdainfully, who it's Ihan Mo's junk. I won't be surprised if a robot made by Ivan Vank malfunctions. Rhodes, no, it looked like it got torn off. Tony dodged more grenades launched by the enemy, so what you're trying to say? Rhodes, maybe there are superheroes helping us, maybe Ghost Spider or Spider Silk, they can do it. Tony, come on, at this time, they are probably having fun with Li. Rhodes, Ye Li reappeared, in a dark alley this time. Tap starred up the figure stepped out of the alley. The Black Knight spider suit seemed to melt away, gathering at his wrists like a tide. The scene looked like Venom, but the suit was lifeless, closer to nanotechnology. Ye Li rounded the corner and headed down the street, thinking about taking a stroll before heading home to nap. As he passed an old staircase building, he heard a burst of gunfire coming from inside. His senses instantly identified them: shotguns, revolvers, short-barreled assault rifles. Boom. 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 Asterisk da da da. Boom asterisk, yup, the slums of New York, gunfights were a daily occurrence. He started to walk away, when suddenly, his senses detected something. A pretty woman in detective gear hurried into the building. What's she doing? That familiar black-haired face. Within a split second, Ye Li recognized his good sister. Since when did amateur detectives start showing up at active crime scenes? He hesitated, glancing back at the rundown building. Don't worry about Jessica though, but I better go and have a look. Why? Just then, a young girl bumped into him. The 2 drinks she was holding almost fell to the ground. Thump star. Ye Li caught the drinks and handed them back to the girl, studying her. She looked young, 5 or 6 years younger than Jessica and her friends, slender, but there were red marks and bruises on her face, and blood on her lips and nose. She looked like she'd been beaten recently. From her clothes, she's wearing a black collar around her neck, and a silver sun pendant with a human face hanging from it. A black lace undershirt, a white net shirt, and a green jacket. Under the shorts, there are white pantyhose with comic patterns. Very familiar image. Ye Li tried to search his memory. The girl who took the drink said in a delicate and slightly gravelly voice, "I'm sorry." "Thanks." She looked up at Ye Li, a handsome adult man, looking a little shy, and asked him cautiously, "Excuse me. Did you hear the gunshot just now? Did it come from this building? Bang asterisk. Before Ye Li could answer, another gunshot exploded from the building. No more questions needed. The sound made the girl jump, and she quickly headed for the building. Ye Li followed her casually, causing her to look back in fear. "What do you want?" "I'm going into the building." Ye Li walked past the girl, heading for the entrance. He wanted to see where Jessica had slipped away and chatted with the girl. "What's your name?" "Matilda." Matilda held the drink with a timid look in her eyes. The silver car pulled up in front of Hammer Industrial Park. Happy and Natasha were driving quickly out of the car. "Stay in car." "I don't want to stay in the car. Hey, what are you wearing?" Happy was surprised by Natasha's SHIELD agent outfit dressed as Black Widow, accompanied by sirens. The two broke in. Black Widow rushed through the corridor in her unparalleled car. The guards were no match for her and fell to the ground. Happy entangled a Hammer Industries security guard and began a fight between mortals. Dang dang, dang dang dang, dang dang, bang bang bang. Bang bang. Profound. Oh, the two were at a loss, and they were novices pecking at each other. In the end, Happy won the victory with his ear-biting stunt. Who? With a smile on his face, Happy gasped and looked at the fallen security guard and nodded, hey, sure enough, Mr. Yi is right, can't be bound by moves. Mtlnovel Li finally remembered, he said why he seemed to have an impression, but isn't this the Marvel world? Why are there other movie worlds interfering? Although compared to the Marvel universe, this killer isn't too cold, which only features gunfights, is considered child's play, but Yi Li thinks this is a sign. Since Mtlnovel can break in, it won't be surprising that she will encounter some weird things in the future. Mtlnovel, brother, why are you together? Jessica held the handrail of the spiral staircase and turned it down, landing in front of the two of them. Jessica, be careful. After Mtlnovel reminded Jessica, she reacted and looked at Yi Li in surprise, brother? Are you Jessica's brother? Do you know each other? Yi Li turned his questioning eyes to his sister Chi,